Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. We've got a whole bunch of reviews and different takes on it, so we're going to try to unpack the good stuff for you.
And get ready to laugh along the way. From what I've seen, reviewers love Sincero's humor. It's not your average self-help book, that's for sure.
Okay, so self-help that doesn't take itself too seriously. I'm into it. But funny business aside, what were the main messages that really stuck with people?
You know, it's interesting. Beneath all those jokes, there's this strong law of attraction and manifestation thing going on. Like one review straight up called it secretly a guide to that
A
stuff.
secret law of attraction guide. Come on, is she hiding chapters in there or what? How obvious is she about it?
Well, she weaves it in throughout the whole thing. It's not like a how-to manual. It's more like she connects it to believing in yourself and like really taking charge of your life. For example, she talks about making sure your thoughts are lined up with what you want to attract.
So it's less about specific techniques and more about cultivating the right mindset for it.
Exactly. It's like she's saying, look, before you can manifest anything amazing, you got to believe you even deserve it, that you're capable of having it. Which, now that I think about it, really connects to that other big theme, self-love.
True. And it's not just about, like, feeling yourself all day, right? A lot of reviewers said it wasn't just about feeling good, but actually doing something with those good vibes.
You got it. Sincera is all about making self-love active, not passive, taking action from a place of worthiness. Like she even says, love yourself enough to ditch those beliefs that are holding you back. What do you think about that connection between self-love and taking those concrete steps?
It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if you're always putting yourself down or second-guessing everything, it's going to be really hard to take those risks, to actually go after what you want.
Yeah, totally. It's almost like you're giving yourself permission, like, hey, I'm worthy of going for it, of building the life I want. And that kind of ties into another thing that comes up a lot, breaking free from what Sincero calls, and this is great, the big snooze, which is basically our comfort zones.
The big snooze. I love it. So how does she encourage readers to hit that metaphorical snooze button on their own comfy routines, even if they're holding them back?
Oh, she's got some great lines. Like this one. If you're serious about changing your life, you'll find a way. If you're not, you'll find an excuse. It's about being real with ourselves, right? And like,
Ah,
she makes taking risks sound fun and exciting, not scary. She really emphasizes all the cool stuff that can happen when you step outside that comfort zone.
it becomes less about avoiding discomfort and more about what if something amazing is on the other side of this?
Right. It's about actively creating the life you want instead of just accepting whatever's in front of you. You're writing your own story.
Okay, so we've got these big, empowering themes, but what about the nitty-gritty? Is it all just feel-good stuff, or did people find it actually helpful in their everyday lives?
Well, that's where people had different experiences. Some thought it was super practical, like they got clear takeaways from it, while others thought some parts were a little too out there, kind of abstract.
Same book, different experiences. What about the people who found it useful? What stood out is especially actionable for them.
A lot of people loved her advice on like dealing with those limiting beliefs we were talking about. She's got exercises to help you figure out what those sneaky little thoughts are, the ones holding you back. Like she tells you to really pay attention to the stories you're telling yourself, about what you're capable of, what you deserve. Are they helping you or are they keeping you stuck?
Right. It's like questioning those automatic things our brains do, those beliefs we just accept as true without even thinking about it.
Totally. And once you actually see them, once you're aware of them, you can start changing them.
Now that's powerful stuff. Awareness leading to action. Speaking of awareness, one reviewer mentioned this whole thing about how other people are like mirrors, reflecting parts of ourselves back at us.
Oh, yeah. Sincero's big on that. It's like realizing that the way we react to other people, especially the ones who drive us nuts, can tell us a lot about our own insecurities, our own hangups.
Okay, see, this is where it gets really interesting to me. Because I know I've totally had those moments where someone's doing something annoying and I'm like, why am I so bothered by this?
Right. And she uses that example of like getting annoyed by someone who's always late. She's saying it's not really about them being late. It's about what it's bringing up in you. Maybe it's a fear of things being out of control or something.
So instead of just getting frustrated, you can ask yourself, what's this reaction telling me about me? Whoa, that's some deep self-awareness right there. But
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. It's not about like letting the other person off the hook, right? It's not saying it's my fault they're acting that way.
No, not at all. It's more about taking responsibility for your own reactions, using them as a way to learn and grow, which is
Yeah.
really what this whole book is about, isn't it? And it's obviously resonating with people. I mean, it's been around forever, 10 years since it came out.
And there's a new anniversary edition, right?
Yep, 10th anniversary one. What do you think it is about this book that makes it so timeless so many years later?
I think it's that Sincero's not just telling you to think positive and poof, your life will change. It's about doing the work, but not in a way that feels overwhelming or preachy. She makes it fun.
Absolutely. She gets that life's messy and that we're all just figuring it out as we go. And she's got that kind of like straight talking best friend vibe going on, but without all the sugar coating.
Yeah, like, I'm going to tell you the truth, even if it's kind of hard to hear, but we're going to laugh about it too.
Exactly. And I think this is true for any book. It's not going to be for everyone. Were there any criticisms that came up a lot or things that people didn't love about it?
Yeah, some people thought it was, I don't know, a little too simplistic at times,
Mm.
or that she repeated herself too much. And some people, while they like her humor, felt like it sometimes overshadowed the point she was trying to make.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there were some who said the advice was a little too general, like it didn't really apply to their specific situation. That whole one-size-fits-all thing that you see with a lot of self-help stuff.
Oh, totally. What works for one person might not work for another.
For sure. You got to take what works for you and leave the rest. Right. Which actually reminds me, a few reviewers pointed out that Sincero really focuses on the power we have to change our inner world, like our thoughts and beliefs. But they felt like she didn't address the external stuff enough.
You mean like societal things, systems in place, all that. How those things can affect your life no matter how much work you're doing on yourself.
Right, exactly. Like, she doesn't really talk about privilege or anything like that. And while it's definitely important to focus on what you can control, that's not the whole picture.
It's about recognizing that not everyone starts from the same place and that those outside factors absolutely play a role.
100%. It's about finding that balance, acknowledging the power we have within ourselves and the reality of the world around us.
So we've learned that "you are a badass" is more than just a pep talk, right?
Mm.
It's really a call to action, encouraging you to take the reins and go after what you really want.
And to do it with a sense of humor. Remember, embrace your own badassery.
You got it. Why blend in when you can stand out?
That's what I'm talking about.
Or before we wrap up, let's circle back to that idea we talked about earlier, using other people's little quirks and habits as mirrors to understand ourselves better.
Oh, that's a powerful concept.
Right. Have you ever had one of those aha moments when someone's behavior, especially those annoying ones, unexpectedly taught you something about yourself?
Oh, totally. I think we all have at some point, if we're being honest with ourselves. It can be kind of uncomfortable, but those moments can be huge for growth.
For sure. Like when you realize, hold on, this isn't just about them. This is something I need to look at within myself.
You hit the nail on the head. And it's often the things that bug us the most about others that can teach us the most about ourselves.
It's like they're holding up this mirror, and we can either look away or really lean in and see what is reflecting back at us.
And that, I think, is a big part of what it means to be a badass, right? Taking responsibility for our own growth.
Absolutely. Not shying away from the tough stuff, but actually using it as fuel to become the best version of ourselves.
And not forgetting to have a little fun along the way. Life's too short to be so serious all the time, right?
That's Jen Sincero for you. So as we wrap up, here's something for everyone listening to think about. What little quirks in others might actually be holding up a mirror for you? What opportunities for some self-reflection are right there in front of you? Think about those things, do a little deep dive, and see what you discover.
Love it. Happy reflecting, everyone.